Box Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today we're going to make zucchini bread because it's kind of zucchini season. I'm a little bit late, but we're going to go ahead and make zucchini bread. And I'm going to start with my beautiful zucchini that I got from my friend Bruce and Donna, my friends Bruce and Donna. And because this came right from their garden, I'm not going to bother peeling it because it should be pretty good and good for me, and a little bit of green flecks won't be bad. But I do like to cut it open and see how many seeds I have before I grate it, just to kind of see, I guess, how big they are and if I want to take any of them out. But these look pretty little and nice and firm, so I'm not even going to really bother with it. So I'm just going to start grating because I need to get, I need to see how much I have and then decide whether I'm going to make a single batch or a double batch. My single batch calls for, where is it? Yeah, like 1 1/4 cup, which I don't think is going to use very much of my zucchini. So I'm most likely going to double my recipe just so I can use up this gorgeous zucchini, and I really do love zucchini bread. So this already looks like a solid cup, and I'm barely getting anything eaten here. Okay, my grater's like super sharp, so I don't want to cut my fingers. But this is all kind of the inside of the stuff, just the seedy part, so I'm gonna, whoopsie, hang on. I don't really want the dog to get that. I'm going to just not use the whole entire seedy part. So gosh, this looks like a lot already. We really just need like 2.5 cups, and I'm not quite there, so I'm going to do this one. And I've heard or seen different recipes where you're supposed to like press your zucchini in paper towels and try to get the moisture out, but I don't know, I just never do that. And then you're supposed to have finely grated, well, this is just regular grated, you know, I mean, it's just a regular size, it's not super fine. And I've made it like this always. I never have a fine grater, so I have never done it that way. And I don't know, seems just fine. So you can just use what you have at home to make your zucchini bread. Or you could put this in the food processor. I guess I've never really done that. That would be kind of easy. As I'm struggling here, you guys are all like, yeah, that would be really easy. But I'm just not going to do it. This doesn't take very long, and I don't need to grate very much. So here's that seedy part again that I'm just trying to go around and get the edges of my zucchini. So I'm not going to grate this because that's just all the seeds, and I don't really need that, even though they were nice little seeds. Okay, so I'm going to check this and see. I should have just grated this right into the bowl. Gosh, that would have been kind of a good idea. Oh well, I did not. Okay, so that's pretty much 2.5 cups. So let's just put this over here. Okay, so then I'm going to scrape all my zucchini off here right into my bowl. And I got stuff all over the place. So I guess I'll just do that. I'm going to use this for my nuts in a few minutes here, but I guess that won't really matter if they're a little bit combined. Let me just grab this. I just don't want to have all this zucchini all over the counter. I mean, I like to be a messy cook, but I don't really want zucchini scattered everywhere. All right, so I still got some on my hands. That's okay. Okay, so now I have to remember that I'm doubling the recipe because I'm supposed to have 1 1/4 cups of finely peeled and grated. Well, I didn't peel it, and it's not finely, so whatever. Once again, you can just manipulate your recipe to whatever you feel like doing that day, which is what I love about cooking from scratch. Okay, so this is peanut oil, which is what I've been using lately instead of like canola or olive or anything, because you don't really want to use canola. It's not very good for you, I guess. So I need 12 tablespoons, which is really like, that's a lot. So I'm just going to do, my cookbook thing here says, if I'm doubling it, I do 3/4 cup of oil, which I guess that seems like a hefty amount, but I better check that. I'm sure that's what I have this itty bitty, like written in pencil. I can barely read it. It says 3/4 cup equal double. So there I go. There's my good handwritten notes. And this recipe I've had forever. This is right out of my cookbook called the Jane Brody's Good Food Book. And this is how long I've had it. It actually says living the high carbohydrate way, okay, which is like, there's my oven, completely not how we live nowadays. Everything is like keto and protein, but I probably love this cookbook because I'm not a big protein fanatic. I don't think I could ever survive, well, I could survive on the keto diet, but I would not be very happy. So anyway, my point is what? That it's coming out of my Jane Brody's Good Food Book, and that is the high carb, and I have little notes written on it. I have used 3 whole eggs if doubling, because you're supposed to use 1 egg and 1 egg yolk, so I don't even do that. So anyway, let's just keep going. Okay, so in here, did I tell you I put 3/4 cup of oil, and now, just want to make sure I haven't made this for like a year, because I haven't had a zucchini. So again, I'm just going to put my eggs in here just to make sure I don't get any shells. I suppose I should dump that in. Okay, so there's 1 egg. I'm doing 3 eggs. And then I'm going to stir all this together. And there's an itty bitty shell in there, which maybe you wouldn't notice, but I'm going to get it out since I see it. Eggshells are like super hard. I mean, they don't seem hard right this second as they're falling into my thing, but when you get them in food and you like crunch on them, you're like, crunch. Like, that was definitely not supposed to be there. Has that ever happened? Like, that happens to me quite a bit. More than it should, I'll say. No, not really, but it's not very nice when it does happen. Okay, so now I have my 3 eggs, and this bowl is feeling pretty little, but it'll be fine. Okay, so I put my 3 eggs in there, my zucchini, my oil, and I think I do my egg, oil, and vanilla. Yes, okay. So I need to do 2 teaspoons of vanilla, which I don't really care if I go heavy on. So that's going to be 1, and then we'll do 2. I really don't measure vanilla in the teaspoon thing very much because I just don't think it matters that much. It's not like it's a bad spice or a seasoning if you have too much. I mean, I have actually added too much, I think, to like a pudding or something once, and it was like, woo-wee, like way too much vanilla. So I guess you can't overdo it, but whatever. 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, I'm not worried about it. So see how this just gets really, the egg makes it kind of all, you know, a little bit foamy, sticky together, the oil. So that's what you're looking for. You just want your wet stuff kind of combined before you throw it into your dry stuff. That's it. Okay, so that was pretty dang fast. Now we're going to switch over to here. Now we'll do our dry ingredients. Okay, so because it's Jane Brody, she was always like about health and stuff like that, of course. So it's supposed to be half whole wheat flour and half white. And I used to do that like a long time ago when I made this all the time. But I don't know, the last few years I've just been like, oh, whatever. If I have wheat, I might throw it in. I should throw it in, I suppose. But it's like buried deep in my cabinet. So we're just gonna go with white. And you know, with this, and I'm doing 3 cups, right? 1.5, so double that's 3. This recipe, because of the green flecks and the nuts and the raisins, like I feel like it has enough color to it. You know how banana bread, because of the bananas, it gets like all those brown flecks, and so like you don't even really know if you have wheat flour in it. Where if you were to make like, I don't know, not anadama, but like some other white bread, you might actually notice that. Okay, I'm just going a little bit shy of 1 cup because I don't know, I'm going to put a lot of raisins in. So it's supposed to be a full cup, but I'm just going a tiny bit shy. Shoot, what was I saying? Oh, I'm sure nothing very important. Something about, whoopsie. Oh my gosh, I've totally forgotten, you guys. About flour, I think. I don't even know. I get thinking and then I can't think anymore and I don't remember what I'm talking about. Okay, we're just going to skip it. It probably wasn't that important. I don't know, let's hope not. Whoopsie. Okay, so I'm doing 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I kind of tend to like go a little bit more on those 2. Oh, maybe that's what I was talking about, vanilla, like how you can't put too much in. I don't remember. You guys have probably forgotten too. Let's hope so. All right, cinnamon. I need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, which I can't dig in, so I got to just pour it out. And this is something else I don't care. Whoopsie, a little bit more. That's fine. No big deal. And then this one actually calls for nutmeg and cloves, which is probably why I love it so much. Like I kind of like the pumpkin spice stuff, but I get tired of the whole like pumpkin spice stuff. So I just love nutmeg and cloves. And so I'm putting some in. I'm doing half a teaspoon of nutmeg. And then, see, I got a huge container of cloves because I like it. I don't know how much oops, did I do that right? Okay, whew, I thought I just mixed it up. It's supposed to be a half a teaspoon of each. And I thought I did it wrong, but I did not. Okay, so that's a half a teaspoon. This is a 1 teaspoon. I don't have a half a teaspoon. This is my little bitty half a teaspoon, but it's like broken. And so I love these adjustable measuring spoons, and I don't want to get rid of them, even though my little one is broken, so I hardly ever use it. Okay, so let me just make sure. And then salt. I need salt for sure. And they say half a teaspoon. So we'll just guesstimate on that too. All right, so I got flour, sugar, powder, salt, soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. Okay, so I'm going to take my wet spoon here, which is, actually I just can't do it. I'm going to take this one and stir all my dry ingredients up. And you just kind of want to do this to make sure you don't want like a blob of baking soda or baking powder or cinnamon. You just want all your spices and your salts and sugars and flours, everything to be mixed together so it's all nice and uniform. That's good, whatever, plenty. Okay, now before I combine my wet to dry, I always like to have everything totally prepped up. Because I read once how like once you add your wet to your dry, like the chemical reaction between the baking powder and the baking soda like is instant. And so I'm always like, oh, I gotta like get in the oven right away. So I always like to make sure I'm all like ready to go with my dry ingredients. Let's see, I like a lot of nuts. How much does it say? Oh, it only says a half a cup, which is 1 cup. Okay, so this will be good. So anyway, I like to have everything like totally prepped. I'm going to spray my pans in a second and make sure those are all ready so that when I actually combine my wet and dry, I don't have to sit, because I wouldn't want to like combine them and then sit here and chop all this stuff up. I want to make sure I'm all chopped and prepped so I can combine my wet and dry, throw in my nuts and raisins, and then throw it in the oven. And I'm doing mini loaves today. Well, and probably a big loaf because I'm doubling my recipe. And I don't have a second, does that look like a cup? I think I need a little bit more. I don't have a second mini loaf pan, so I'm gonna get both a big pan and a little pan today. And that's kind of a lot. Gosh, I didn't even think about like eating it all. Oh, how am I gonna eat it all? Maybe I'll put some in the freezer. I don't really put things in the freezer very much because I just feel like I want it to be all nice and fresh. But I have discovered if you don't keep it in there for months at a time, like it's fine, it's totally fine. Okay, we're gonna just call that good. We're gonna just leave that like that and not even measure it because it doesn't really matter. Whatever, you have to just get close to a cup. You know, this is all just flexible. It's my word, flexible. Okay, then I think I'm supposed to do, is that a third? Gosh, this like font is little. Woo, I used to be able to read it easy peasy. I must be getting old. Okay, so I'm gonna, this I don't really want to get too much because if I get way too many raisins, then it'll be really crazy sweet, and I don't really want that. So I just did, what did I do? Maybe 3/4 of a cup there. I looked, but I didn't really look. I did not do a full cup, I know that. Gosh, hope you guys can like follow along. I'm not a very good like measurer, but I do like to cook at home and cook from scratch. So you just make it work. It all turns out. Okay, so have I done everything? No, I got to spray my pans, which I used to never use this stuff. I used to like, you know, do the whole brush and like brush it on. I think I've gotten lazy, but I don't like to do it like right here. I always have to do it over my sink. So I don't know why. It's just a goofy thing I have about it. Probably because I don't really like it anyway. And I don't know why. It's very easy, but okay. And then this one. Am I going to use this one? Yeah. All right. Okay, so now I think I'm ready to combine. So I got my add-ins, right, which is just that, my wet and my dry. Okay, we're ready. Here we go. So now this has gotten just a little bit soupier. So this should be very kind of like a stiff, well, not stiff, I don't know, dense batter, I'll say, because your wet ingredients are mostly the zucchini, and so it's not like it makes it all super soft or moist or something. I can't think of the right word I'm trying to say, but you'll see in a second here. It's just not very, it's not very flowy like a cake batter would be, or something, even like maybe a muffin batter. Get in there. Okay, so I'm just gonna stir this. Oopsie, I just spilled a bunch of flour. Well, not a bunch, until it's all combined, and then I'm gonna fold in my raisins and my nuts. Oh my gosh, I am really missing my bowl today here. Holy smokes. Okay, I don't want to work this too much, but you know, this is what I'm saying. See how like dry it is? It's not very soupy. So you just work it in, I guess. It's kind of like my zucchini brownies. I made those, I think a year or two ago on the show, and God, I used to make those like all the time. And then I must have got sick of them or something. You guys ever do that where you make something like over and over all the time, and then you just like stop making it and you don't really make it very often? So it's kind of how I've been with zucchini brownies. But this zucchini bread I've been making like my whole life from the Jane Brody Good Food book. And I do really love this recipe. So see how stiff it is? Like, it's like using a lot of muscle. I gotta be a tough man to like stir the stuff. But I don't wanna get it too crazy. Hey, maybe I don't even need my big pan. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'll just stir it up. But see, I can see flour down in there, and so I don't want that either. I want all my stuff combined. Otherwise somebody would take a bite and then there'd be like this big white chunky thing. So I'm trying not to get too crazy on stirring this so my bread isn't like tough, but yeah, can you see all the flour I have in here? I still need to stir it quite a bit. But it's kind of wild. This stuff is so dense. I'm like, how is this going to bake up in a bread? But it does, and there's still flour. Okay, I must not have stirred it all that great to begin with. Okay, I swear I'm not even going to need that big pan. Boy. So I have discovered if you kind of like load these up, then they really like pop up. You know, if you only fill them like half full, then there's almost like not enough batter to like rise up and give you that nice rounded loaf. So I have been kind of filling my muffin and like bread pans a lot, you know, so that they have to rise up, and then you get that beautiful loaf shape. Okay, here I am yakking. I need to like get this in, right? I wanted to hurry up and get it in my pan, but I'm not sure that it's like, look at this stuff is like stiff. So stiff is the correct word. You do end up with a stiff batter, I'll say. So I got one more to go, and like not very much batter. So I'm totally not even going to use my big pan. So now I just get to wash that for the fun of it, because I'm not even going to use it. Oh well, at least it's easy to wash. It's not very dirty, it's just greasy. But if I would have not sprayed it, sometimes I don't spray the stuff until I like know I'm going to use it. But I don't know, this will be kind of crazy to see what I get for a double. I've never done this before. This is a new thing where I like double the recipe and then jam it all into here. So hopefully I'll get some nice, beautiful, like tall zucchini loaves. And then I don't really know if I need to spread it out, but I just do. Like, I just can't leave it all this huge pile and then like all gappy in the corners. Maybe once it gets hot, it would all like spread out and be just fine. But I always feel like I want to take a moment to spread it out. And then I got all these things here I got to get out of here. Okay, using my finger, very technical piece here of the pie. Grabbing all my scraps off the counter before the dog gets them. She's waiting for me to drop something, and I'm just not going to drop anything. Okay, then sometimes I add cinnamon and sugar on here, and sometimes I lick my finger off. It's kind of a good way to know, like, did I forget something? Because I do forget stuff. And then if you like eat it, then at least you can be like, oh my gosh, I forgot something, it doesn't taste right. I think I will do cinnamon and sugar, just because, I don't know, just because I can, and I don't know, you don't always see it, and I probably won't see it on here, but you could do like a sprinkle of cinnamon or nutmeg, whatever you want. So this is really crazy that I doubled my recipe and I only have 4 mini loaves. Boy, I don't really understand that, but we're just gonna go with it. Guess I have not doubled for quite a while. So it'll be just fine, trust me. Okay, so I have my oven at 350. I'm gonna do it for 35 minutes and then we'll come back and check it and see how perfect my weird recipe turned out to be. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, we are back. My bread has been in the oven about 43 minutes actually, and I just checked it and we're gonna pull it out. And it looks gorgeous. They're not nearly as tall as I thought they were gonna be, which is just fine, really. So this is my little tester, so I just stick it in here and make sure nothing comes out on it. It's nice and clean. You can use a toothpick, whatever, but you can feel that this is like super dense bread. So I'm supposed to let it rest for like 10 minutes before I take it out, but I'm really antsy. So I think I'm just gonna see if I can get one to pop out. Oh, I should get my cooling rack so I can actually let them cool faster. So when you do a baked good, it is good to let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes in the pan because it will kind of shrink away just a tiny bit from the edge of the pan and come out easier. And then it's best to put it on a cooling rack and let it just cool for another like 10 minutes. But we might kind of cheat today and just get it out and then slice it right away because it's going to be just really yummy. So let's see here. Hopefully all of these won't come flying out. Just loosen it like that. Okay, I'm just gonna pop them out, I think. Oh, that one's a little bit stuck. All right, ooh, that's hot. Okay, we'll just do it like that. Let those sit there for a second. And whoopsie. Okay, so now I'm supposed to let this cool too, but I'm not going to. But they look kind of cool. Like you can see little strings of green and the strings of zucchini. You can't really see the cinnamon sugar, but if you look close, you can see that a little bit of shine from the sugar on the cinnamon sugar. Otherwise, it's just kind of a dull top. So maybe that's why cinnamon sugar is good. But then it all poofs up and so it gets kind of all over. Like this is all dull and then that's the kind of shiny spots and where the sugar was. But it's kind of fun, whatever. You can do whatever you want. And the raisins are sticking out. So this is really crazy hot, but we're gonna go ahead and try to slice it open. When you slice such hot bread, it's just really delicate and kind of lose its shape or whatever. But ooh, look at that. And look at all the green flecks in there. It's just really cute. So I like that part about it too. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and just eat it really hot, which bread when it's hot also tastes really different. But hang on, it's kind of a monster piece for a sample. Let's throw it in. It's so hot, like all I can taste is a raisin. Okay, so yeah, it's just really hot. I can't hardly taste anything but the raisin, but I can taste the good, like spicy stuff to it. All my good spices. So I'm gonna put this back on here actually so it doesn't, I don't want it to cool on here because the moisture will condense and get a little bit wet. So that's it. That is your great zucchini bread. So thank you very much for watching Box 3 with Stephanie. I hope you like the show. I hope you make zucchini bread and your family thinks it's delicious. And I appreciate your time in watching, and I will see you guys on the next show. All right, thanks.